Hello, book enthusiasts, and welcome to Listen with Best Audiobooks. All our audiobooks are originally written, produced, and narrated by us. We don't reuse or repurpose third-party content. Every script, voice, and edit is made exclusively for this channel. Our goal is to deliver authentic, educational, and inspiring audiobooks that you can truly enjoy. Now, sit back, relax, and let's begin today's audiobook.
Why are some people instantly respected, heard, and followed, while others are ignored? Think about this. Two people walk into a room. One speaks, and everyone listens. The other speaks, and no one even notices. It's not because one is smarter, not because they look better. It's because one of them has mastered the power of communication. Before you say a word, you're already communicating. Every day, you communicate. With your words, with your voice, with your eyes, even with your silence. But here's the truth. Most people don't even know how they sound. They don't know how they come across. They don't know that their tone, their timing, and their words are either helping them or hurting them. This audiobook is your guide to changing that forever. The foundation of all success. You could be the smartest person in the room, but if you can't explain your ideas, no one will listen. You could have the best heart, but if you don't express it well, people might misunderstand you. You could be passionate, loyal, talented, creative. But if you can't communicate with confidence, you'll stay invisible. Think about great leaders, CEOs, teachers, pastors, influencers, or even your favorite YouTubers. They all have one thing in common. They know how to speak in a way that moves people. Communication is more than talking. Let's get one thing straight from the beginning. Communication is not just about talking. It's about listening deeply, reading body language, feeling the room, adjusting your tone, choosing the right words, knowing when not to speak. Great communicators know that people don't just hear you, they feel you. If you sound cold, you lose trust. If you sound confused, you lose authority. If you sound weak, you lose attention. But when you speak with clarity, warmth, and energy, you become magnetic. Why this book matters more than you think. Let's be honest, schools don't teach this, most jobs don't train it, and families don't talk about it. But communication is what makes everything else work. Your relationships, your career, your confidence, your influence, even your peace of mind. When you learn to communicate well, you stop arguing in circles, start building deeper connections, win people's respect, say what you actually mean, hear what people are really trying to say, get what you need without manipulation. The truth about miscommunication. Here's something most people don't realize. Most arguments aren't about the topic. They're about how the topic was delivered. It's not what you said, it's how you said it. Tone matters, timing matters, delivery matters. Your words might be right, but if your energy is wrong, the message gets lost. You'll learn how to fix that. You'll learn how to control your tone, use body language, ask the right questions, avoid the traps of reaction, and create real understanding why people fail to communicate well. Most people don't know how to speak with impact because they were never taught. They speak from emotion, not awareness. They copy what they've seen, which often isn't healthy. They never reflect on how they sound to others. This book will break those patterns. You'll learn to pause, reflect, and then speak with purpose. You'll learn to listen, not just to words, but to tone, expression, and intent. Your voice has power. Use it. Right. Your voice can calm someone's anxiety, inspire someone to take action, diffuse a tense situation, end an argument before it begins, create trust in seconds, make someone feel heard, start a movement, change someone's life. But it can also hurt feelings, break relationships, trigger defensiveness, shut down a conversation, damage your reputation. The power goes both ways. And once you understand that, you become responsible for what you say. That's the first step to mastering communication. The inner game. What you believe about yourself shows in your voice. If you feel unsure, you'll sound unsure. If you feel like your opinion doesn't matter, people will treat it that way. If you believe your words are valuable, people will lean in to listen. Communication is part inner work. The way you speak is shaped by your confidence, your past experiences, your habits, your fears, your values. We're going to clean that up together. You don't need to be loud to be powerful. A quick myth to destroy: you don't need to be the loudest in the room to have the most influence. Some of the most powerful communicators in history speak slowly, calmly, and with few words. Because it's not about volume, it's about clarity, calm, and conviction. You can be soft-spoken and still command the room. You can be kind and still be firm. You can be humble and still be heard. What you'll learn in this audiobook: across the next chapters, you're going to learn how to make people feel seen and heard, how to build trust and likability fast, how to stay calm during arguments, how to speak with purpose, how to avoid common communication traps, how to connect deeply in any conversation, how to use silence, tone, and words to guide energy, how to become unforgettable. This isn't about scripts. It's not about being fake. It's about being real, clear, and intentional. But first, a quick request. Before we dive deeper, if you're enjoying this audiobook already, take a second to subscribe or follow this series wherever you're listening. That way, you never miss the next chapter, because I promise, each one builds on the last. And the transformation by the end, you'll feel it in your relationships, your work, and your confidence. Let's begin the journey. Now we begin. In the next chapter, you'll learn the most underrated but powerful skill in communication: listening to understand, not to reply. Get ready, because that single shift will change how people respond to you forever. Chapter 2. Listen to understand, not to reply. Most people think good communication starts with talking, but it doesn't. It starts with listening, and not just hearing words, truly listening. There's a big difference between listening to understand and listening to reply, and that small difference changes everything. Think about the last time you felt really heard. Not interrupted, not judged, not rushed, but truly understood. It probably felt good, like you mattered, like someone finally got what you were trying to say. That moment of connection is rare, and that's why it's powerful. Now flip the script. How often do you give that same gift to someone else? Not just nodding along or waiting for your turn to speak, but slowing down, making space, and truly listening with your whole mind. The truth is, most people don't. Most people listen only enough to jump in with their own thought. Or worse, they listen with their defenses already up. They're not hearing to understand. They're hearing to defend, argue, fix, or escape. And that breaks connection. That kills clarity. Real listening is a skill, and it's rare because it requires humility. It requires that you pause your own inner voice long enough to fully take in what someone else is saying. Imagine someone talking to you. They're sharing something important, and instead of rushing to respond, you stop. You look them in the eyes. You give them your full attention. You don't interrupt. You nod gently, not to agree or disagree, but to show them you're present. You wait, you breathe, and then, once they've finished, you respond not from habit, not from ego, but from understanding. That's the kind of moment that builds trust. Listening this way does more than help conversations. It changes relationships. It makes people feel safe around you. It makes them open up. It makes them respect you. Because in a world full of noise, being heard is rare. And when you offer that, you become someone they value. Most people don't even realize they're bad listeners. They interrupt. They finish people's sentences. They offer advice no one asked for. They're busy thinking of what they'll say next, not what's being said now. And that creates distance. People start to feel unseen, unknown, and slowly they stop sharing. But you're learning to do something different. You're learning to listen like a mirror, quietly, clearly, fully. And that alone makes you stand out in any room, in any group, in any conversation. Listening to understand means you don't assume, you ask. It means you don't jump to fix things. You hold space. It means you allow silence, because silence is often when truth shows up. Sometimes someone just needs to talk. They don't need your solution. They don't need your wisdom. They just need you, your presence, your calm, your respect. And when you give that, you give power. You become someone people trust. And when people trust you, they open their hearts. They follow your lead. They believe your words more. That's real influence. That's real connection. Good listening doesn't just help others, it helps you too. Because when you listen deeply, you start to understand things others miss. You catch what's not said out loud. You see patterns. You pick up emotion. You hear the truth beneath the words. And with that, you make better decisions. You avoid conflict. You grow in wisdom. You become a communicator with depth, not just volume. This chapter isn't about staying quiet forever. You'll speak, you'll share, you'll lead. But the foundation must be listening. If your mouth speaks more than your ears receive, you're not connecting, you're broadcasting. And no one likes a signal that never pauses. So here's a shift to carry forward. Every conversation is an opportunity to hear, to learn, to understand, to connect. Whether you're speaking to your partner, your child, your friend, your team, your boss, bring full presence. Don't let your phone be louder than their voice. Don't let your thoughts crowd out their truth. Let your stillness speak before your words do. And when you finally do speak, you'll find your words land differently. They'll carry weight. They'll feel earned because you took the time to understand first. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into the world of nonverbal communication because even when your mouth is silent, your body is always talking. We'll uncover how your posture, eye contact, gestures, and facial expressions tell stories, sometimes more clearly than your words ever could. So get ready. Your journey to becoming a powerful communicator is just getting started, and it begins, as it always should, with listening. Chapter 3. Your body speaks before you do. Before you ever say a word, your body is already talking. You may not notice it, you may not even mean it, but your face, your hands, your eyes, your shoulders, they're always speaking. And often, they speak louder than your mouth ever could. Imagine walking into a room. You see someone sitting with their arms crossed, head down, eyes avoiding contact. You haven't said a word, but already something feels off. Now imagine someone else. They sit up straight, eyes open, soft smile, shoulders relaxed. Again, no words. But you feel welcomed. That's the power of body language. And the funny thing is, most people have no idea what message they're sending. They focus so much on words, but forget that 70–90% of communication is nonverbal. It's your posture. It's your eye contact. It's the way you tilt your head when someone's talking. It's whether your arms are open or closed. It's how close you stand. It's the speed of your gestures, the tension in your voice, the way your feet point. All of it is a language, a silent, powerful one. And here's where it gets real. People believe your body more than your words. You can say, "I'm confident," but if your eyes are shaky, your shoulders are tight, your hands fidget, no one will believe you. You can say, "I care," but if you keep checking your phone, looking past them, or standing stiff and distracted, your message won't land. The truth is, people feel you before they hear you. They feel your energy, your presence, your rhythm. And it all starts with the way you carry yourself. Let's take posture. If you walk with your chest up, chin level, back straight, you instantly appear confident and open. But if you're hunched, small, closed off, even if you say all the right things, you might come off nervous, unsure, or even dishonest. And then there's eye contact. Too little, and people think you're hiding something. Too much, and you seem aggressive. But just enough, gentle, respectful, warm, and you create instant trust. Smiling. That's a superpower, not the fake, forced kind, but a natural, easy smile. One that says, "You're safe with me." It disarms. It connects. It opens doors that words never could. Gestures matter too. Open palms suggest honesty. Closed fists suggest tension. Hands in pockets might seem casual, but can also seem unsure. Fast, jerky hand movements can feel anxious, but calm, slow movements feel confident and steady. Even your feet say something. Yeah, feet. If your feet point away from the person you're talking to, it signals you're ready to leave. If they point toward them, you're engaged. It's subtle, but our brains pick up on these things fast, whether we realize it or not. Here's the hard part. You can't fake this stuff easily. If your inside is full of fear or tension, your outside will show it. So this isn't just about learning what to do. It's also about learning how to feel. Because when you feel confident, when you feel calm, when you feel present, your body naturally mirrors that. You don't have to memorize a bunch of tricks. You just have to work from the inside out. The more grounded you are, the more grounded you look. The more open you are, the more open you seem. So, how do you improve your body language? It starts with awareness. Watch yourself. Notice how you sit when you're nervous. Notice how your voice sounds when you're excited. Notice what your hands do when you feel unsure. Then, slowly shift. Breathe deeper. Relax your shoulders. Unclench your jaw. Stand taller. Look up. Pause before reacting. Let your body become a home you want to invite others into. And this isn't just about looking good, it's about being real, authentic, connected. Because when your body and your words say the same thing, people feel it. It feels whole. It feels aligned. It feels safe. You're not trying to impress anyone. You're trying to express yourself clearly. You're not trying to dominate. You're trying to connect. That's what communication is. Connection. And your body is the bridge. Now here's something beautiful. The more you practice, the more natural it becomes. You don't have to think forever about where your hands go, or how to smile, or when to nod. It becomes part of you, like a rhythm you feel in your bones, a language you no longer study because you've learned to live it. And people will notice. They'll say, there's something different about you. They won't be able to name it right away, but they'll feel more drawn to you. They'll feel more relaxed around you. They'll listen more. They'll open up more. Not because you said something brilliant, but because you said something honest with your body, your tone, your silence, your stillness. And once you understand this, you'll never walk into a room the same way again. You'll walk in knowing that everything about you communicates. And now you're in control of what it says. In the next chapter, we'll explore something that makes people instantly drawn to you without you saying a single clever word. It's not charm. It's not good looks. It's something far more powerful. And once you know how to use it, people won't just listen to you. They'll want to follow you. Chapter 4: How to Make People Instantly Like You. You walk into a room, maybe it's a gathering, maybe it's work, maybe it's just waiting in line, and you see someone. You don't know them, you've never met, but something about them feels warm, approachable, safe. You don't know their story, you don't know their background, but you feel drawn to them. You want to talk, you want to know more. That's not luck, that's not magic, that's social intelligence, and it can be learned. The ability to make people instantly like you is one of the most valuable skills in life. It opens doors that degrees can't. It creates trust before credentials ever matter. And in communication, it's your golden ticket. So, what makes someone likable? It's not being loud. It's not being perfect. It's not having the sharpest words. It's something deeper, something quieter. At the heart of it is presence. When you're with someone, be with them. Not checking your phone, not scanning the room, not waiting for the moment to escape. Be there, fully. People can feel when you're not. True likability begins with making people feel seen. When you meet someone, look at them like they matter, like they're the only person in the room, even if it's just for 30 seconds, because in that moment, you give them a gift most people never receive. And here's the thing, people don't always remember what you say. They remember how you made them feel. So if your energy says, I'm glad you're here, they'll remember you. Now let's talk about warmth. Some people confuse it with being overly nice or fake smiley. But warmth is deeper. It's your tone. It's the ease in your eyes. It's your ability to listen without judgment. It's how quickly you say someone's name after hearing it. It's when your body relaxes and you meet them as equals. Likability is not about impressing people. It's about disarming them. It's about helping them relax so they can be themselves. Because when someone feels safe around you, they open up. They trust you. They enjoy being near you. And that's what likability really is. Comfort mixed with genuine attention. Now here's a secret not many know. Most people are too busy thinking about themselves to judge you. They're wondering how they're being seen, how they're being heard. So, the person who takes the focus off themselves and puts it gently on others becomes unforgettable. Ask someone how they're doing, but actually mean it. Ask follow-up questions. Remember little details. Smile with your eyes. Lean in when they speak. These are tiny things, but they build massive trust. You don't need to be funny. You don't need to be charismatic. You don't need to be clever. You need to be real, present, soft, open. And here's another key. Don't try to be liked. Just try to like others. Shift the goal. Don't enter a room thinking, how can I impress them? Enter thinking, how can I see them? How can I appreciate something about them today? When you lead with appreciation, when you find one good thing in everyone, they feel it. They can't always explain it, but it lingers. Maybe it's the way you remember their kid's name. Maybe it's the way you gave them space to finish their thought. Maybe it's how you didn't compete, but listened. Small moments, big impact. And let's not forget vulnerability. People like people who don't pretend to have it all together. People like people who are human, who admit small mistakes, who laugh at themselves, who say, I don't know, but I'd love to learn. That's real. That's honest. That's attractive. Sometimes the most likable thing you can do is just breathe. Slow down. Let someone talk. Let someone feel heard and respond with softness, not strategy. Think about the people you love being around. Chances are they don't always talk the most. They make you feel more like you. And that's what you want to become for others. There's no script to likability. It's not about lines. It's about energy. Your energy is your message. And the more relaxed, grounded, kind you are, the louder your unspoken message becomes. You're safe here. And remember, likability is not about being liked by everyone. It's about being fully present for the people right in front of you, even if it's just for a few minutes. Make them feel like they matter. Make them feel like they belong. When you practice this again and again, you won't need to try anymore. It'll become your nature because your heart will be trained to see the value in others. And they'll feel that. They'll feel valued. They'll feel respected. They'll feel good just by being around you. In the next chapter, we're going to dig even deeper into the power of asking the right questions. Not small talk, not just polite talk, but meaningful questions. The kind that make conversations memorable, the kind that build bonds that last. So stay with me because your ability to ask can shape how people answer you for life. Chapter 5. The questions that build connection. If you want to change the direction of a conversation, ask a better question. It's really that simple. Words are powerful, but questions, they're the doorway to depth. Think about it. Most conversations stay on the surface. How are you? Busy day, huh? What do you do? We ask questions we've been trained to ask. We keep things light, polite, safe. And because of that, we rarely connect. But imagine this. What if you asked someone, what's something you're excited about this week? Or, what's been on your mind lately? The tone changes instantly. The air shifts. That person leans in. They pause. They search inside themselves. And they realize, you're not just talking, you actually care. The right question does something incredible. It makes people feel seen. And being seen, being truly understood, is one of the deepest human needs. But it takes courage. Because meaningful questions open doors. And when doors open, so do hearts. There's a reason you remember certain people from your past. It's not always because they gave you advice. It's because they asked something that made you reflect, that made you feel, that made you share something real. And when you share something real, you bond. See, asking good questions isn't about being clever. It's about being curious. Not nosy, genuinely curious. Curiosity without judgment is the foundation of trust. When someone feels your curiosity is pure, they open up without fear. They share without hesitation. They feel respected. They feel valued. So what kind of questions do that? Simple ones, real ones. Ones that ask about thoughts, feelings, memories, hopes. Like, what's something that's been challenging you lately? Or, if you could change one thing about your routine, what would it be? Or even, what's something you wish more people understood about you? These aren't complicated questions. They just require attention. They invite a real answer. And here's the beauty. You don't have to ask deep questions all the time. It's about balance. But when the moment feels right, when the energy is quiet enough, drop a question that matters. And don't rush to fill the silence afterward. Let them think. Let them feel. Let them find their own words. That silence, that pause, it's sacred. Because in that pause, connection is being born. Now here's something to remember. You don't always need the perfect question. Sometimes it's not about what you ask, but how you ask it. Your tone matters. Your eyes matter. Your stillness matters. You can ask someone, "How are you?" And if your tone is flat, rushed, distracted, they'll say, "Fine." Conversation over. But if you ask it gently, with eye contact, with real presence, they might pause and say, "Actually, not that great." And now you've gone deeper. It's not the words, it's the energy behind them. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is, "Tell me more about that." That one sentence invites people to keep going, to trust you, to unravel something they've been holding. Or even, "What was that like for you?" That opens up the emotional layer, not just the facts. And once someone taps into emotion, they remember you forever. Because people forget names, they forget dates, they forget details, but they never forget how someone made them feel. This is the secret. Great communicators ask because they care. They ask to connect, not to control, not to impress, not to prepare their next line. They ask, and then they stay quiet. Because listening is the second half of asking. Without listening, a question is just noise. But when you listen after asking, really listen, you create space. And space is what people are starving for. Not space to talk about their job titles, but space to be human. When people feel that space, they breathe deeper. They speak slower. They remember what matters, and they walk away feeling lighter, and they'll remember you as the one who gave them that moment. Don't underestimate how rare that is. The world is loud. Everyone's in a hurry. Everyone wants to be heard. But the ones who slow down and say, "Tell me what's on your mind," they change lives. You don't need a degree to ask powerful questions. You don't need training. You just need heart and the willingness to be quiet once the door opens. Because the best conversations aren't filled with answers. They're filled with moments. Moments of honesty, moments of discovery, moments of mutual presence. So ask with presence, ask with care, ask not to know more, but to see more. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about something that many people struggle with, and it can ruin even the best intentions. It's the habit of interrupting. You might not even realize you're doing it, but once you learn to master it, your conversations will completely shift. Because respect isn't just what you say, it's how you wait. So let's talk about that next. Chapter 6. The Power of Not Interrupting. It starts as a habit, a quick thought, an idea bubbling up while someone is still speaking, and before you know it, you cut them off. You didn't mean to, but your brain ran ahead of your mouth, and now the moment's gone. Interrupting, it's one of the most common blocks to deep communication, and most of the time, people don't even know they're doing it. We've all done it. In conversations with friends, in meetings, in heated discussions, we jump in too early. We finish sentences. We rush the story. We assume we already know where the other person is going. But here's the truth. Every time you interrupt someone, you send a message, whether you mean to or not. You're telling them, "What I have to say is more important than what you're saying." You're telling them, "I already know where this is going, so let me take over." And slowly, without realizing it, you make people feel small. It's not always aggressive. Sometimes it's out of excitement. You feel connected. You want to share a similar story. You think you're building rapport. But if you cut in too soon, you miss what they were really trying to say. True communication is not just about speaking. It's about holding space, letting the other person finish, letting their thought breathe, letting them feel heard all the way to the end. Because something magical happens in those final few words. That's where the real emotion lives. That's where the clarity comes. That's when the meaning settles. But if you interrupt, you cut the thread, and the moment is lost. Now think about how you feel when you're interrupted. You're talking, you're trying to explain, and someone jumps in. You feel a little dismissed, a little disrespected, like maybe your voice isn't worth the wait. That's not a feeling people forget, especially when it happens again and again. When you train yourself not to interrupt, you do more than avoid rudeness. You become rare. You become someone people want to talk to because they feel safe finishing their thoughts around you. They feel important. They feel like their words matter. It takes discipline because sometimes your brain is racing. Sometimes your insight feels urgent. But the most powerful thing you can do is pause. Let them land. Let their sentence complete. And then, when there's space, step in gently. Respond with care, with presence, with clarity. Now, this doesn't mean staying silent forever. It doesn't mean letting conversations drag endlessly. It means choosing timing over speed. It means respecting the rhythm of conversation. Every person has a natural pace. Some speak fast, some speak slow. Some pause, often. Some build up gradually. When you learn to sense that rhythm and match it, you build trust without words. And here's another secret. People are more likely to listen to you if they feel you have listened first. When someone feels fully heard, they naturally want to hear you. Because communication isn't a race, it's a dance. And in a dance, you don't step on your partner's feet to get ahead. There's a quiet confidence in patience. The person who doesn't rush to speak often speaks with more impact. Why? Because they're not chasing attention. They're choosing timing. And that's powerful. If you find yourself interrupting often, try this simple practice. Take one full breath before speaking. Just one. Even if the other person has finished talking, breathe once, then respond. That single breath does two things. First, it gives you a chance to absorb what they said. And second, it shows them you're thoughtful. You're not just reacting, you're responding. People can feel that, and they respect it. There will be times when you must jump in. Maybe the person is going in circles. Maybe there's a time limit. Maybe you need to clarify something important. In those moments, interrupt gently, with care, with language that respects their voice. Say things like, "Can I pause you for just a second? This part really stood out to me." Or, "I hear you, and I want to make sure I understand. Can I ask something quickly?" When you frame it that way, it doesn't feel like interruption. It feels like engagement. And that's the goal, to stay connected, to keep the conversation alive, not hijack it. Every conversation you have is an opportunity to build or break trust. And one of the fastest ways to build it is by showing someone that their words matter enough for you to wait. Let others finish. Let them unfold their thoughts fully. Don't race them. Don't rush them. Because when they're done, they'll turn to you with more openness, more interest, more care. And that's when your voice really lands. In the next chapter, we're going to talk about a tool that can change how people hear you, your tone of voice. Because sometimes it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Your tone carries emotion, and mastering that is one of the most overlooked communication superpowers. So stay with me. You're doing the work, and it's already making you someone people feel good around. Chapter 7. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. Imagine hearing the words, "Are you okay?" Now imagine hearing them said 3 different ways. One voice is soft, slow, and warm. You feel safe. You feel like someone really cares. The second voice is fast, clipped, impatient. You feel rushed, maybe judged. You hesitate. The third one is sarcastic, with a slight eye roll. You feel insulted. You shut down. Same words, totally different feelings. And that right there is the power of tone. Tone is the music behind your words. It's the emotion you carry in your voice. And people hear it, even when they don't realize they're listening for it. That's why tone is one of the most underrated tools in communication. Because your tone can build trust or break it. It can make someone feel safe or small. It can bring comfort or confusion. You might say, "I didn't mean it like that." But if your tone doesn't match your message, people won't hear your words. They'll feel your attitude. Most people don't study their tone. They think the message is what matters. But human beings are emotional creatures. We don't just hear facts. We feel everything. And here's the key. People respond more to how they feel around you than to what you say. You can give the best advice, say the right thing, offer the perfect solution, but if your tone feels sharp, cold, unbothered, or fake, it won't land. Now think about the people in your life you trust the most. Why? It's not just what they say, it's how they say it. They sound calm, they sound real, they sound present. Tone doesn't just come from your voice, it comes from your energy, your breath, your emotions, and your intention. If you speak while feeling rushed, your tone carries urgency. If you speak while angry, your tone carries tension. If you speak while smiling inside, your tone carries warmth. You can't fake tone, not for long. Your real emotions leak through. So the secret isn't to fix your tone. The secret is to become aware of it. Let's take a simple sentence. I don't know. Say it with curiosity. It sounds open. Say it with embarrassment. It sounds unsure. Say it with frustration. It sounds like you're done. 3 different tones. Same 3 words. So what does this mean for you as someone working to master communication? It means every time you speak, you have a chance to check your tone. Not in a robotic way, but with heart, with presence. Before you respond in a conversation, ask yourself, what am I really feeling right now? And is that emotion helping this moment or hurting it? If you feel tense, breathe before you speak. If you feel hurt, soften your words with care. If you feel excited, let that joy come through. But don't overpower the other person. You'll start to notice tone everywhere, in others, in yourself, in moments that went wrong and in moments that went right. The apology that didn't feel real, that was tone. The compliment that made your whole day, that was tone. The conversation where you finally felt understood, that was tone, too. Your voice carries more than words. It carries you. So train your voice to carry peace, to carry strength, to carry kindness. Now here's something powerful. You can intentionally use your tone to shift energy in a room. When a discussion is getting tense, slow your voice down. Lower the volume. Keep it steady. Your calm becomes contagious. You anchor the space. When someone is sad, speak with softness. Let them hear comfort in your voice. Even if your words are simple, I'm here, or that sounds hard, your tone carries the healing. When you're teaching something, speak clearly, but not too fast. Give space between ideas. Let your tone help people absorb, not rush to finish. The way you pace your tone matters too. Speed communicates emotion. Slow speech feels reflective. Fast speech feels anxious or excited. Your pauses, they are powerful. They give people time to breathe with you, to feel with you. And remember this, sometimes the best tone is no tone at all. Silence. When you don't know what to say nothing for a moment. Let your presence be your message. People don't always need a clever reply. They need to feel they're not alone. And silence, when held with love, says, I'm with you. Louder than any words. You don't need a perfect voice. You don't need training. You just need awareness, practice, and care. Every conversation is an opportunity to make someone feel better or worse. And most of the time, your tone decides which one it is. So speak with presence. Breathe before you answer. Slow down when things get loud. Let your voice become a safe place in a noisy world. In the next chapter, we'll shift gears. We'll explore the one element that turns good communicators into great ones: clarity. Because no matter how kind your tone is, if people don't understand your message, you're not connecting. You're confusing. Let's make sure your words land, not just gently, but clearly. Chapter 8. Say it so they get it. The gift of clarity. You can say a lot, but if people don't understand you, you've said nothing at all. Clarity is the bridge between your thoughts and their understanding. It's not about using fancy words or clever ideas. It's about being clear, clean, simple, because communication isn't about how much you know. It's about how well you make others feel like they know it too. Think of the last time someone gave you directions and you still ended up lost. They talked fast. They used weird street names. They pointed vaguely and said, "You'll see it when you get there." You didn't feel informed. You felt frustrated. Now imagine someone else gave you directions like this. Go straight until you see the bakery with the red door, then turn left. The place you're looking for is 2 buildings down on your right. It has a green awning. You'd smile, thank them, and walk away confident. That's what clarity feels like. When you speak, your job isn't just to share what's on your mind. It's to guide someone into your mind. So they see it, so they feel it, so they get it. A lot of people confuse complexity with intelligence. They think sounding smart means using big words, long sentences, complicated explanations. But in reality, True intelligence is shown in simplicity. The best communicators take big ideas and make them small enough to hold, easy enough to carry, clear enough to use. And when people understand you, they trust you, they follow you, they remember you. Clarity builds connection. So how do you become more clear? First, know what you want to say before you say it. That doesn't mean scripting every word. It means taking a second to ask yourself, what's the core message I want to leave behind? Cut the clutter. If it doesn't support the message, leave it out. Second, speak in pictures. Paint mental images with your words. Instead of saying, our company must implement strategic, cross-functional synergies, say, we need to work together like one strong rowing team, moving in sync. People see that. They feel that. They get it. Third, use pauses. Let each idea breathe. Don't pack 10 thoughts into one breath, one idea at a time, one sentence. Then stop. Let it land. Fourth, use examples. If you say something abstract, like emotional intelligence or growth mindset, follow it with a story, a simple example, something they can relate to. Fifth, ask questions to check understanding, not in a teacher-to-student way, in a human way. Does that make sense? Have you ever felt something like that? Would that work for you? When you check in, you show care, you show respect, you create space for connection. And finally, match your clarity with your tone. Slow down. Emphasize what matters. Don't rush your words. Don't run over your own message. Sometimes we speak too fast because we're nervous or because we're used to being ignored. But here's the truth. When you speak clearly, people want to listen. And clarity doesn't mean you have to be perfect. It just means you're intentional. You take the time to shape your message so the other person doesn't have to struggle to decode it. This matters everywhere, at work, at home, in friendships, in love. If you want better conversations, you need clearer communication. Let's say you're upset with someone. Instead of saying, you never listen to me, say, when I talk and you check your phone, I feel invisible. That's clear. That's specific. That lands. Or let's say you're pitching an idea. Don't say, this project is revolutionary and disruptive. Say, this will cut delivery times by 30% and save us $10,000 a month. Now that's clarity. Or you're giving a speech. You're nervous. You want to sound smart, but you ramble. You quote too many stats. You lose the room. Instead, focus on one key message. Make it human. Tell a story. Speak like you're talking to a close friend over coffee. Because the goal isn't to impress, it's to connect. Even in relationships, especially in relationships, clarity matters. When someone asks what's wrong, don't shrug and say, nothing, when you're clearly hurting. Say, I feel a little off today, but I'm not ready to talk about it yet. I just need a bit of space. That's real. That's honest. That's clear. You see, people aren't mind readers. If you want to be understood, you must make yourself understandable. The best communicators aren't always the loudest. They're the clearest. They make people feel calm, seen, safe, because clarity brings peace. And when you speak with clarity, you get fewer arguments, less drama, better results, deeper respect. People will leave conversations with you feeling like something finally made sense. That's a gift. And it's a skill, and it's one you're now learning to master. In the next chapter, we're going to unlock something that ties all this together, the art of asking the right questions. Because sometimes a great question does more than a great answer ever could. Let's explore that together. Chapter 9. Ask better questions. Get deeper connections. Think back to a moment when someone asked you a question that made you pause. Not a boring yes or no question. Not something shallow or robotic, but a real question. One that made you feel seen. One that opened something in you. Maybe it was, how are you really doing? Or what would make you feel proud of yourself right now? Or even just, what's something you've never told anyone? That's the magic of questions. They open doors, they break walls, they create space, not just for answers, but for connection. And yet, most people don't know how to ask questions. Not really. They ask to fill silence. They ask to seem polite. They ask because it's expected. But they don't ask to understand. They don't ask to connect. And that's where powerful communication breaks through. If you want to be a great communicator, learn this. Your questions matter as much, sometimes more, than your answers. Because questions do a few powerful things. First, they show care. When you ask someone a thoughtful question, you send a message. I'm interested in you. I value your thoughts. You matter here. Second, they create trust. A person who asks good questions is often trusted more than someone who just talks well. Why? Because they listen. They open up space for others to exist. Third, they guide the conversation. With the right question, you can shift a surface-level chat into a meaningful moment. Instead of asking, "How was your weekend?" Try, "What moment from this weekend made you feel alive?" Instead of, "How's work?" Try, "What's one thing you're working on right now that excites you or drains you?" These small changes lead to big shifts. Here's the key. Good questions are specific but open. They invite reflection. They unlock stories. They don't force a right answer. They open the floor. Let's talk types of questions for a second. There are surface questions. How are you? What do you do? Where are you from? Useful. Sometimes, but not deep. Not transformative. Then there are deeper questions. What made you choose this path? What's something you've learned the hard way? What's bringing you joy right now? Those are the kinds that get people talking, thinking, feeling. And when people feel something during a conversation, they remember it. They remember you. But it's not just what you ask, it's how you ask. Ask without rushing, without pressure. Ask with patience. When you ask someone, "What's been on your mind lately?" Don't fill the silence right away. Wait. Let the pause work. Let them gather their thoughts. That's when the truth starts to come out. And don't just ask to ask. Ask with genuine curiosity. Ask like you care about the answer, because people can feel the difference. Another powerful habit: ask follow-up questions. Let's say someone says, "I've been stressed at work." Instead of just nodding and moving on, say, "Is it the workload or something else?" Or, "How are you handling that?" Or even, "What's helped you cope with that stress before?" This shows you're not just hearing them. You're with them. You're paying attention. You're helping them unpack something they may not even realize they're carrying. Sometimes people don't know what they think or feel until someone asks the right question. You can be that someone. And here's something surprising. Asking questions helps you, too. It makes you a better listener. It makes you more likable. It even improves your memory of the conversation. Because when you ask, you're more involved, more present. In business, this is gold. Ask your clients, "What does success look like for you?" Ask your team, "What's one thing I can do to support you better?" In relationships, it's gold too. Instead of arguing, ask, "What are you really needing from me right now?" Or, "What made you feel unheard?" And in moments of confusion, instead of assuming, ask, "Help me understand. What did you mean when you said that?" Questions clear the air. They heal tension. They build bridges. Even in moments of conflict, especially in conflict, questions shift the energy. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," say, "Do you feel like I'm hearing you right now?" Instead of accusing, you're inviting. You're exploring. And that's what communication should be, a shared journey, not a battlefield. Now let's flip it. How do you receive questions? Some people get defensive, some shut down, some answer without thinking. But when someone asks you something real, try to respond with presence. Don't just answer with facts. Answer with your heart. You'll find that questions create connection both ways. You grow together. You learn together. You trust deeper. And sometimes, the best question isn't for others. It's for yourself. Ask, "What am I feeling right now? Why did that moment affect me so much? What do I need most in this season?" The more you ask inwardly, the better you speak outwardly. Self-awareness and great communication are always tied together. So if you want to improve how you connect with others, start by improving the quality of the questions you bring into the room. Be curious, be intentional, be present, because questions are keys, and when used well, they unlock people, they unlock understanding, and they unlock trust. In the next chapter, we'll take this deeper. We'll talk about the unspoken questions, the ones you don't ask out loud, but people still feel. That's right. We're entering the world of emotional intelligence and how to read the room without a single word. Let's go there together. Chapter 10. The Unspoken Language. Emotional Intelligence in Conversation. There are conversations happening every day that don't use words. You walk into a room and you instantly feel tension, but no one says anything. You meet someone new, and before they even speak, you can tell if they're warm, guarded, tired, or open. That's emotional intelligence. It's the ability to read between the lines, to notice the feelings behind the words, to understand not just what someone says, but what they mean, and more importantly, what they feel. If communication was just about talking, we'd all be experts. But true communication is about connection. And connection happens beneath the surface. Have you ever had someone say all the right words, but something just felt off? Maybe their tone was cold. Maybe their eyes didn't match their smile. Maybe they said, "I'm fine," but everything about them screamed the opposite. That's where emotional intelligence steps in. It's not about being psychic. It's about being present. It's about noticing. Noticing the pause before someone answers. Noticing the slight drop in their voice when they talk about a certain topic. Noticing how their shoulders shrink when a particular person walks into the room. These are signals, tiny signals, but powerful ones. And when you learn to read them, your communication becomes sharper, deeper, more human. People feel safe with you, they feel seen, and they open up in ways they wouldn't with just anyone. But emotional intelligence isn't just about reading others. It's also about reading yourself, knowing your own triggers, your emotional patterns, your habits under pressure. Because here's the truth. When emotion goes up, intelligence often goes down. Think about it. You get angry, and suddenly you're saying things you don't mean. You feel insecure, and you start talking too much just to fill the silence. You get nervous, and your voice gets shaky. Your thoughts rush. Your words lose their power. The goal isn't to be emotionless. It's to be aware, to recognize what's happening inside you and choose your response instead of reacting blindly. That's power. That's presence. That's emotional intelligence in action. And when you combine that inner awareness with the ability to tune into others, you become a communication powerhouse. Here's how that looks in real life. You're in a meeting and someone disagrees with your idea. Instead of snapping back, you take a breath. You feel the rise of defensiveness, but you don't let it drive the wheel. You say, "Help me understand where you're coming from. What's your perspective?" Now, instead of a fight, you've invited a dialogue. Or you're having a tough conversation with a friend. They're upset, not saying much, just quiet. You notice the heaviness in their voice, the way they won't look you in the eye. So instead of pushing them to talk, you say, "I'm here whenever you're ready. Take your time." That silence, it speaks louder than any lecture, and they feel it. That's emotional intelligence. It's not about being perfect. It's about being tuned in, listening with your whole body, not just your ears. You make better decisions. You manage conflict better. You lead better. You love better. Because when people feel understood, truly understood, walls fall, hearts open, conversations go deeper. Now, let's be honest. This isn't something most of us were taught in school. We learned how to write essays, solve math problems, maybe even give speeches. But we weren't taught how to sit with someone's sadness without trying to fix it. Or how to recognize that our anger is often just fear in disguise. But we can learn now, right here, right in the middle of this journey. Start by slowing down. Pay attention not just to the words, but to the vibe. Ask yourself in each interaction, what's going on underneath? What might this person be feeling right now? What's happening inside me? The more you practice that, the sharper your instincts become, and the less likely you are to miss important emotional cues. Also, give people space to feel. Don't rush to cheer them up. Don't rush to explain everything. Sometimes the best thing you can say is nothing. Just be there fully. And here's something else. Emotion is contagious. If you walk into a room tense, anxious, or irritated, others feel it. Even if you smile, even if you say all the right things. But if you walk in grounded, calm, curious, that spreads too. You lead with your energy before you lead with your words. And that's why managing your own emotional state is one of the highest forms of communication mastery. So what helps? Stillness, reflection, taking pauses before you respond, journaling, therapy, mindfulness, anything that helps you slow down and notice yourself. Because the more you understand yourself, the better you'll understand everyone else. You'll begin to realize that the angry person is probably hurting, that the quiet person might be overwhelmed, that the loud person might be hiding fear. And once you see people that way, you stop judging them. You start connecting. And connection, real, honest, deep connection, that's what communication is really for. In the next chapter, we'll take all this deeper by learning how to manage hard conversations, the ones where tension runs high and emotions are thick in the air. You'll learn how to keep your cool, speak your truth, and come out stronger on the other side. Because great communicators don't avoid conflict. They navigate it with grace. Let's do that together. Chapter 11. Handling difficult conversations without losing yourself. Let's be honest, some conversations feel like a storm waiting to happen. There's a tightness in your chest before it even begins. You know it won't be easy. You know emotions might rise. You know you might say something you'll regret, and that's why most people avoid them. They stay quiet. They brush things under the rug. They hope the problem goes away on its own. But it doesn't. It builds. It festers. It shows up in passive-aggressive texts, in awkward silence, in growing distance. The truth is, your ability to handle difficult conversations directly affects the quality of your relationships, at work, in love, with friends, even with yourself. Because there will always be misunderstandings. There will always be moments when someone hurts you or when you hurt someone else. There will be decisions you disagree with, values that clash, boundaries that get crossed. Avoiding the conversation doesn't solve the issue. It just delays the damage. So, how do you step into those tough moments without losing your calm, without losing the connection, without losing yourself? It begins with intention. Before you open your mouth, get clear on why you're speaking. Ask yourself, am I trying to punish or to understand? Am I trying to control or to connect? Because your energy will come through long before your words do. Next, breathe. Not just once, not just casually, but deeply. Before you enter the conversation, give your body space to calm down. Because when your body is in fight or flight, your mind becomes your enemy. It rushes, it reacts, it protects instead of communicates. So you pause, you ground, you choose presence, then you speak. And here's the key. You speak from your experience, not their faults. Instead of saying, "You never listen to me," you say, "When I talk and feel unheard, I shut down." Instead of, "You're always on your phone," you say, "I miss feeling connected when we're together." This shift changes everything. You're not attacking, you're revealing, you're inviting understanding instead of defense. And when it's your turn to listen, really listen. Don't wait for your chance to argue. Don't rehearse your reply in your head. Listen with your whole self. Listen like their heart matters to you, because it does. And yes, it might hurt. You might hear things that sting, that challenge your view of yourself, but stay open. Because what they say may not be the truth, but it is their truth. And you can't connect with someone if you refuse to step into their reality for a moment. Now, some conversations aren't just emotional, they're personal. They touch wounds, old stories, traumas even. In those moments, be gentle with yourself and with them. Let the silence breathe. You don't have to fill every space with noise. Sometimes the most powerful connection happens in the pause. You say, "I hear you," or "Thank you for being honest," or even just, I need a moment to sit with that. This is strength, not weakness. And remember, it's okay to not resolve everything in one conversation. Some healing takes time. Some understanding takes space. Don't rush closure just to avoid discomfort. Because communication isn't about winning. It's about reaching. It's about seeing each other in the tension and saying, "I'm still here." Also, respect boundaries. If someone says, "I can't talk about this right now," don't push. Say, "I understand. Let me know when you're ready." And if you're the one who needs space, ask for it. Say, "This is important, but I want to talk when I can be fully present." That's emotional maturity. That's power. And here's the thing, even if the conversation ends in disagreement, it can still be a success. Because success isn't always about perfect resolution. It's about showing up with honesty. It's about listening with grace. It's about walking away with dignity intact. The more you practice this, the less scary these conversations become. You stop fearing discomfort. You start seeing it as a bridge, a path to deeper trust. And yes, it gets easier. You start to trust yourself more. You know you can handle hard things without losing your cool. You know you can stay grounded, even in the heat. And that's a powerful kind of peace. The kind that says, I don't run from truth. I meet it with courage. In the next chapter, we'll go even further, because beyond the hard conversations is the kind of communication that inspires, that uplifts, that moves people. We'll explore how to speak with purpose, how to communicate with passion, not just logic, how to become the kind of voice people don't just hear, but feel. Let's step into that space together. Chapter 12, Speak to Inspire. Let your words carry purpose. There's something special about a voice that doesn't just talk, but moves people. You've heard it before. Someone speaks and the room quiets. Not because they're loud, but because their words mean something. That's the power of purpose-driven communication, and it's something you can learn. In fact, it starts with one simple question: why am I speaking? Most people speak to fill silence, to explain, to be heard. But powerful communicators, they speak to serve, to uplift, to shine a light, not just on themselves, but on those listening. They know that every word has weight, every sentence is a seed, and every message is a mirror. Think about someone who inspired you, a teacher, a coach, a parent, a stranger in a video. They might not have used fancy words. They probably didn't have perfect grammar, but they spoke with fire, with truth, with something real. And it stayed with you. That's what this chapter is about. Not learning to impress, but learning to impact. It starts with clarity. You need to know what you believe before you can move others. What do you care about? What change do you want to see? What truths live in your chest, waiting to be spoken? Because when you're clear about your message, your delivery becomes magnetic. You're not just saying things, you're saying you. Now let's talk about tone. Your tone is the music behind your message. You can say the same sentence in 5 different ways and get 5 completely different reactions. For example, say I believe in you like it's an afterthought and it falls flat. But say it slowly, with warmth in your voice, eye contact, a pause before the word you, and suddenly someone feels like they matter. This is not about performance, it's about alignment, letting your voice reflect your heart. Now here's another secret. You don't need to be loud to inspire. You need to be present. Speak like the words matter. Speak like the person in front of you matters, because they do, and never underestimate silence. Inspiration often lives in the pause. You make a powerful point, then let it sit. Let it breathe. Let it land. Rushing kills connection, but presence builds trust. And what about storytelling? Stories carry emotion. They bypass defenses. They teach without preaching. They connect people across age, culture, background. If you want to inspire, learn to tell your story. Not the polished, perfect version, the real one. The one with pain and progress. The one with lessons earned, not just learned. Tell someone how you failed and what it taught you. Tell someone what scared you and how you faced it anyway. Tell someone where you used to be and who you're becoming now. That's what inspires. Not your perfection, but your persistence. Now let's talk about your audience. Whether you're speaking to one person or 1,000, always speak to the heart behind the face. Who are they? What are they going through? What do they need to hear? Not just to learn something, but to feel something. Because people don't just want information. They want hope. They want reminders. They want someone to say, I see you, I've been there, and you're not alone. Be that voice. Be the voice that lifts, even when the topic is hard. Be the voice that calls people higher, but never looks down on them. Be the voice that believes, even when they don't believe in themselves yet. And here's the most important piece. Don't wait to be perfect to speak. Your voice is needed now. Even if it shakes, even if it's soft, even if you're still figuring things out. Because someone out there's waiting to hear exactly what you have to say in the way only you can say it. So speak. Speak even if your palms sweat. Speak even if your words stumble. Speak because you've lived something real, and your voice is a bridge. A bridge to healing, to clarity, to courage, to connection. You don't need a stage. You don't need a script. You just need honesty and heart. When you speak from both, you light something up in others. You give them permission to speak too. So the next time you feel that tug to stay silent, remember this. Someone's next step might be hiding in your next sentence. And the next time you wonder if your voice matters, know this. It already does. In the next chapter, we'll explore the quiet superpower that sits beneath all great communication, emotional intelligence. Because before you can speak well, you must feel well. Let's go deeper. Chapter 13, Emotional Intelligence. The hidden power. Behind every conversation, there are moments in life when someone says something small, but it hits you deeply, not because of the words, but because of the feeling behind them. You could tell they meant it. You could sense their presence. You felt seen. You felt safe. That's emotional intelligence at work. And if you want to truly become a master communicator, this is the skill that changes everything. We often think communication is about talking, the right words, the right timing, the right tone. But emotional intelligence goes deeper. It's not just about what you say, it's about what you sense. It's the ability to read a room without needing a map. It's the skill of hearing the unsaid. And it's the strength of staying calm when everything around you feels intense. Let's break this down. At its core, emotional intelligence is made up of 4 simple elements: self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, relationship management. Sounds technical? Don't worry, it's not. Let's bring it back to real life. Self-awareness is knowing what's going on inside you. Before you speak, can you pause and feel? Are you nervous? Are you angry? Are you trying to prove something? Or are you trying to connect? You can't lead your words well if you don't understand what's driving them. Self-awareness is pausing just long enough to choose a response instead of triggering a reaction. And then comes self-management. That's where you learn to breathe when you want to shout. It's where you choose curiosity over criticism. It's where you catch yourself before you send that message you'll regret. Self-management isn't about being fake. It's about being in control. You still feel what you feel, but you don't let those feelings become your boss. Now let's talk about social awareness. This is the art of paying attention, really paying attention. The way someone's eyes shift when they're uncomfortable, the way their voice softens when something hurts, the long pause before they answer. These are not just pauses. They are signals. They are windows into the emotions that words try to hide. A socially aware person doesn't just hear, they feel. They walk into a room and sense the tension or the joy or the sadness without a single word being spoken. And that awareness helps them adjust. It helps them know when to speak and when to just be present, when to push and when to pause, when to challenge and when to comfort. Now, the final part, relationship management. This is where all the other parts come together. You've learned to manage yourself. You've learned to feel others. Now you use those skills to build strong, honest, healthy connections. This is where trust lives. This is where you handle conflict without breaking the relationship. This is where you apologize first, where you speak kindly even when you're frustrated, where you follow up just to say, I care. And here's the beautiful part. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be present. You need to show up again and again with a willingness to grow, to admit when you've missed the mark, to listen when someone tells you you've hurt them, to learn from your own discomfort instead of hiding from it. This is emotional intelligence, and it is not just useful, it's transformational. It makes you a better leader, a better partner, a better friend, a better human. Now, you might be wondering, how do I build it? Here's how. Start by checking in with yourself daily. Ask, what am I feeling right now? Don't judge it, just name it. Happy, stressed, overwhelmed, excited, disappointed. Once you start naming your emotions, you take back control. You stop being dragged around by them. Next, practice the pause. When something triggers you, don't rush to speak. Take 1 breath, maybe 2. Give yourself space between emotion and action. That space is where emotional intelligence lives. And then start observing others with soft eyes. When someone snaps, ask yourself, what might they be carrying right now? When someone pulls away, don't assume it's about you. curious. Get kind. This doesn't mean you excuse bad behavior, but it does mean you respond from strength, not from ego. And finally, practice repair. Emotional intelligence shines not when everything is smooth, but when things break. Say, I was wrong. Say, I didn't mean to hurt you. Say, I'm still learning. You don't lose respect by being human. You gain it. The most powerful communicators are not the most polished. They are the most real. They speak from the heart because they've sat with their own. They connect deeply because they've practiced being present with their own pain, their own joy, their own fear. And that presence translates into every conversation they have. As we move forward, we'll look at how this emotional depth helps us navigate conflict without losing connection, how to disagree with grace, how to stand your ground without raising your voice. Because communication isn't just about what you say. It's about who you are when you say it. And the more emotionally intelligent you become, the more power your words carry, not to dominate, but to heal. Let's keep going. Chapter 14. How to handle conflict without losing respect. Conflict is part of life. There's no way around it. Put two people in a room long enough, disagreement will show up. But here's the truth most people miss. Conflict isn't the problem. How you handle it is. Think about it. Some of the strongest relationships you've seen aren't the ones without conflict. They're the ones where people fight fair, where they listen even when it's hard, where they walk through the fire and come out stronger on the other side. That's not luck, that's skill, and that skill can be learned. Let's start with the biggest mistake people make during conflict. They try to win. The second the conversation becomes a battle, every word becomes a weapon. You stop listening. You start defending. You interrupt, raise your voice, throw in things from the past. You stop hearing what the other person feels and focus only on what you want them to get. And here's the sad part. Even if you win the argument, you might lose the connection. Real communication isn't about winning. It's about understanding. It's about working through the mess without breaking the bond. So how do you do that? First, slow down. When you feel the tension rising, pause. Don't let adrenaline be your guide. Take a deep breath. Literally, just breathe. That breath creates space. And in that space, you can choose your words instead of letting your emotions pick them for you. Second, get clear on what the conflict is really about. Often, arguments about small things are really about deeper things. The dirty dishes aren't about dishes, they're about feeling disrespected. The late text reply isn't about time, it's about feeling unimportant. If you only fight about the surface, you'll keep having the same fight. So ask, what am I really upset about? And also, what might they be really upset about? This kind of reflection takes courage, but it leads to deeper healing. Now, third, listen without fixing. When someone tells you how they feel, don't jump in with advice. Don't try to fix it or compare it to your own pain or make it about you. Just hold space. Say, I hear you. Say, that sounds painful. Say, I want to understand. Because people don't always want answers. They want connection. They want to feel safe enough to open up. Fourth, use I statements. This might sound like a communication cliche, but it's powerful. I felt hurt when you canceled. I felt ignored when you didn't respond. I feel overwhelmed and need some space. When you speak from your own experience, you take ownership of your feelings. You lower defenses. You keep the conversation focused on connection, not blame. Compare that to, you never care. You always disappear. You don't respect me. One version invites understanding, the other invites war. And finally, know when to walk away and come back. Some conversations can't be finished in one sitting, and that's okay. If emotions are too high, if words start to turn sharp, if you feel like saying something just to hurt, pause. Say, I care about this too much to ruin it with anger. I need some time to think. Let's talk when we're both calmer. This is not weakness. This is maturity. It takes strength to know your limit, to step back with love, to return with peace. Now you might be thinking, what if the other person doesn't communicate this way? Good question. Here's the answer. You can't control their tone. You can't force their empathy. You can't make them listen, but you can control your response. You can model healthy communication. You can protect your peace. You can refuse to become someone you're not just to win a fight. And over time, your calm might invite theirs. Your presence might soften their edge. Your choice to stay grounded might shift the entire dynamic. Conflict handled with love becomes a bridge, not a wall. And remember, not every relationship will last. Not every argument will end in agreement, but every conversation is a chance to grow in who you are. So don't fear conflict. Welcome it as a teacher, a mirror, a guide. It shows you where you need boundaries. It shows you where you need healing. It shows you what still triggers you and gives you a chance to work through it instead of running from it. In the next chapter, we'll dive into something powerful: how to communicate across digital spaces. Text messages, emails, video calls, they come with their own rules. And if you don't understand them, you risk being misunderstood. Chapter 15. Becoming a lifelong communicator. The journey never ends. You've made it far. You've learned how to listen. You've discovered how to speak with confidence. You've explored body language, empathy, conflict, clarity, and more. But here's something powerful you need to know as we close this journey. Communication is never finished. It is a lifelong process. The best communicators in the world never stop learning. They evolve, they adapt, they stay curious about how they show up with their words, their tone, their energy, their silence. Great communicators don't reach a final level and call it done. They reflect after conversations. They ask, did I come across the way I meant to? They notice when they cut someone off. They apologize when they speak from a place of fear instead of peace. They try again. They grow again. You see, communication isn't just a skill. It's a way of life. It touches everything. Your relationships, your career, your self-respect, your leadership, your healing. The way you talk to others starts with the way you talk to yourself. That inner voice, it's the foundation of all outward speech. So if you want to keep growing, keep tuning into your inner dialogue. Do you encourage yourself or tear yourself down? Do you speak to yourself with compassion or cruelty? Because the voice you use in your mind will leak into every sentence you say out loud. Now let's talk about presence. In this noisy world, it's easy to forget how powerful simple attention is. The ability to look someone in the eye and make them feel like they matter. That's a gift. People remember how you made them feel long after they forget what you said. Being a lifelong communicator means choosing presence, even when your phone buzzes, even when your mind wants to rush, even when you're tired. It's learning how to slow down and meet people where they are. To say, I'm here, I see you, I'm listening. And it's not just about deep talks. It's also in the small things. The way you greet someone in the morning, the tone in your thank you, the pause before you respond to criticism, the warmth in your goodbye. These small signals create big meaning. They tell the world who you are and how much you care. Now let's talk about digital communication. In today's world, you're not just speaking face-to-face. You're texting, you're emailing, you're calling on Zoom, and each platform comes with its own tone. Misunderstandings happen fast online. A short message can sound cold. An emoji can change the meaning of a sentence. Silence can feel like rejection. So how do you navigate this? Slow down before you hit send. Ask yourself, how will this make them feel? Is it clear? Is it kind? Is it necessary? If a message feels sensitive, maybe it's worth a phone call, or a voice message, or a quick video check-in. Because tone matters more than words, and text rarely carries tone well. When you communicate online, don't just be efficient, be thoughtful. Your digital words leave a footprint too. Now here's a secret every great communicator knows. You won't always get it right. You'll say the wrong thing. You'll forget to follow up. You'll speak from emotion instead of truth. That doesn't make you bad. That makes you human. The question is, will you learn from it? Will you go back and say, I realized I hurt you with what I said? Will you send that message you forgot and take ownership of the delay? Will you choose humility over ego when things get messy? This is what separates surface-level speakers from lifelong communicators. And here's the beautiful reward. The more honest you are with yourself, the deeper your relationships will become. the safer people will feel around you, the more peace you'll carry, because your words align with your heart. You become a bridge. You become a place where healing happens. You become someone people trust, because your voice is no longer just sound, it's presence, it's impact, it's love. So wherever you go from here, carry these truths with you. Your voice matters, your silence matters, your tone matters, the way you look at people matters, the energy you bring to a conversation matters, and every time you choose kindness, clarity, curiosity, and calm, you make the world a little softer, a little wiser, a little more connected. That's the power of communication, and that's what you're capable of. So don't stop learning, don't stop showing up, don't stop trying, even when it's awkward or messy, because every word you say is a chance to build something beautiful inside you and around you. You are not just someone who talks, you are someone who connects. And in a world desperate for understanding, that is a gift beyond measure. Keep growing. Keep speaking with purpose. And never forget, communication is not just a tool, it's a way of becoming the very best version of who you are.